Welcome to Warblog. Today we're looking at the battle for Lysychansk. It's quite interesting because finally getting my head back around sort of what's happening. I've no idea. It must be so much that's happened whilst I sort of been asleep. So I don't know what other sort of big battles I missed, but maybe not too much. It's going quite slow, but this is Lysychansk, whatever it is. And there's this sort of forward Ukrainian line, and I think they're sort of retreating. They're sort of giving up, and what you'll see is, of course, that there's this big river down here with 3 bridges, and the Ukrainians have engineers, and so do the Russians. So you do have the option to sort of blow them, but the Russians have the option to cross the river elsewhere. But obviously, that's going to be a formidable defensive feature. But at the same time, if you recall that other scenario, they're actually coming south and they're going to be surrounding this Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. They're going to be surrounding it, so it's a good chance that they'll all get stuck in a pocket and have to surrender anyway, and it appears that they're sending in reinforcements which are similarly being isolated quite soon. But I think the thing, it's going slowly obviously, but I think what you can just see from here, and maybe this is just overkill, but there's a lot of units, so there's a lot of chaos, and there's a lot of firepower and destruction on all sides. So it's not going to be, you can see why it isn't the walk in the park. And I was sort of thinking, well, this is because I always play like this. I would have thought, well, maybe why don't the Russians do an airdrop and capture the bridges? Like Market Garden. Why don't they do that? Just capture the bridges and hold them. I'm not saying that would be a good move, but it seems like a good move to me, because if you can get those, these are all captured. You can just wait until they run out of toilet paper, and they won't be able to surrender them, would they? Anyway, I don't know what would be done first. I mean, we've obviously got a lot of air power. I haven't put any cruise missiles in. 1 minute. I've given them some cruise missiles now, so I'll start again. The only thing I will say is that the Ukrainians have off-table artillery. I mean, it's such a long order of battle. Rockets. There you go. Long-range artillery. So they've got that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've got 5 of it, so they actually have a bit of an edge themselves. It's interesting, actually. I was feeling a bit sort of I don't know, under pressure, so to speak, and it would be nice if I sort of had some sort of really snazzy position in life, sort of thinking, you don't want to get too sort of melancholy or anything like that, but I started looking, I was thinking one thing or another, and I was looking at some sort of businesses around my way. The offices of Northrop Grumman, and I started looking at their site, and they've got, they actually make drones, high spec, military drones, as well as all sorts of other stuff, cruise missiles, satellite systems, infantry fighting systems, intelligence systems, battlefield operation systems, and whatever. And was thinking they must have really good jobs, wearing a nice shirt and a tie and sort of going. It's a bit like the film Falling Down. He always seems to me like a sort of archetypal clever guy working in the defence sector. And I was thinking, I should just go and knock on their door and say, "You can give me a job." So, well, what do you know about anything? And I say, well, I've got this military simulation modelling application in which I've sort of been modelling, conflicts for the last 5 years, and with leading edge technology for drone weapon systems and indirect long range ballistic cruise missile blasting what's not, and I'd like to model your systems. But it's quite interesting actually, because I love this game. I love all the colours and I love the stylization and the discipline that it all offers. And you read people and they sort of say, "Oh, well, I was just really keen on this," and then he magically got a job. And I was thinking that would be quite good, because I don't know much about Northrop Grumman. I know a lot about Boeing and BAE Systems and and a bunch of others, but not much about Northrop Grumman. Not that it's a bit late in the day for me to really be wetting my teeth on anything like that. But I just thought that would be that would be nice, and it made me think. These people are actually probably looking at this war with keen eyes, and it's their thing to provide weapon systems to basically counter the Russians. Regardless of their inner sort of I don't know, ethics and whatnot. I mean, to some extent, they represent, and I know an American company, and the office near me, it just looks like some sort of administrative office. It's not a big manufacturing facility or anything, but I just thought, when it comes down to it, I mean, the drone technology is serious stuff. And they're tasked with designing, engineering, modelling, and building that sort of stuff. And to a large extent, it's actually got to work, because this is these cutting edge technologies are making the difference. And they're probably supplying a lot of this stuff to the Ukrainians and modelling it. They were talking about the French giving them some long range artillery, rocket assisted artillery. And Russians have captured some of it, and they're trying to sort of reverse engineer it. And a lot of this stuff is supposed to be pretty sort of leading edge, and someone's got to design it and build it and hopefully get it right. And I don't think anyone's really considered whether they've been getting it right for a long time, because as Boris Johnson says, the days of tanks marching across the Serengeti plains is over. But then, is it? The what's that mythical sea monster? It has arisen, and here it is, and they've been making all this stuff, and does it actually do anything? And this is the big test. There was also another interesting thing: a Russian surface-to-air missile, sort of air defense system, and it launched, and it came straight back. And I was thinking, did they hack that? I mean, they're all saying, "Oh, it's crappy Russian technology," but what I imagine is they hacked it. And I was thinking, I think they probably hacked it, because the chances of it returning to base is quite small. Secondly, the chances of it returning to base after sort of, say, 20 seconds of flight would mean it would have 20 seconds to come back, which means the crew would get out of the way. The way it happened, if you know it, you might not know what I'm talking about, but the way it happened really gave no one any chance to get out of the way. They must have hacked it, and they were talking about hacking these long-range French artillery systems. And it makes you wonder what sort of capability electronic warfare has on all this modern mumbo jumbo sort of high-tech gadgetry. etc., etc. Anyway, so that's just a little thing. I was just thinking about that. I was looking at the Norfolk Grumman site and I was thinking, yeah, it'd be so good, wouldn't it? You know, if they sort of said, "Hey, we've been looking at your site and we think that you're just the guy to come in and to I don't know what do, make cups of tea or something. I don't know. But yeah. So anyway, well, I don't know what to do. You see, I mean, we've got. Maybe I should get into play mode first. So we've now got our cruise missiles, which is obviously upsetting the line a bit. I mean, it might be useful to look at what they've got, but obviously one of the things you've got to bear in mind, if you're playing it sort of maybe to the tune of what's going on, the Ukrainians are pretty much going to retreat. But that looks like a nice big stack. I mean, that is a nice big stack. Look at that. So I wonder how much damage a cruise missile would do on that. But I think it only hits the first 3. But if it hits all of them, that would be a really nice opening move. Let's see. Well, we did hit all of them. 1, 2, 3, but only 3 of them had any effect. 2, 0, 5.6, 0, 0, 0, 0, 4. I'd do it again, but I think it's cheating. Maybe we can hit this stack. It's still quite big in its own right, isn't it? Only one hit, but the 2.9 was like, but yeah, it's 11.6. Look at that. That is going to rout. It must have been a direct hit on the anti-tank unit. Okay. Right. So we hit that and that. What I was thinking was that it might be quite good to take out all their engineers so they can't blow their bridges up. But you've got to consider all this stuff, you see, and I think this is one of the things that this game's sort of good at, because it makes you realise you've got a lot of stuff, but what you do with it defines how the game pans out. I mean, we could hit all this frontline stuff, fair enough, but we could get these engineers 2 there, 2 there, 2 there, but they do get reinforcements sometime later. But taking out those engineers would stop them from blowing the bridges. But at the same time, blowing the bridges would stop all of these units from being able to retreat because there is nowhere else to cross the river. So you've got a dilemma there, unless you were to sort of fight a fighting line. That's what I'm saying. So the Russians had some sort of air mobility, which they just don't seem to have. I mean, there was some sort of indication that they were going to sort of try, and I think they did some airfields. They captured some airfields, right in the very early start of the war. But it sort of makes you wonder, really. Maybe there's just too much air defence, and I would have thought that if they're giving the Ukrainians anything, they'd be saturating them with air defence systems. But they say they've got air superiority over the whole of this place and this place. It's not that I can't say it, it's just I'm a bit tired, and suddenly complicated words become a bit much for my weakened brain. I have to listen to it a bit more. They say it on the, you hear it and you sort of, it's that Severodonetsk place and Lysychansk or something like that. But it's probably not how to say it. But anyway, so now what we've got to do is to consider where we're going to put our drones. Because we could take out all of these, but then again, do we want to? It would be nice to take out. Well, I don't know what to do. What would be the best move? I don't know. Maybe to take out this block here so we can move all of this stuff into the fray. I mean, is there anything sort of strategic that we can do? I mean, we can bring this up here, but we can also move these quickly to take this bridge and maybe to block it. You know, we could maybe get there. I mean, we might be able to even get there, but getting to there was going to be difficult. We're in range of any sort of rocket power. Rockets. They don't seem to have many rockets. Maybe I forgot there's some rockets there. Rockets there. Rockets there. There. So they've got rockets. Be nice to get all these bridges. But if whatever we send there will be probably destroyed. I mean, is there anything that's going to be strategically or tactically significant, you know, sort of some easy wins in this first move? We do have some engineers somewhere, but I don't think they're on right at the start. They come on later. What might be nice is to try and secure this flank. Stupid lag blind. Like that. If we could secure that, because what that would mean is that we would control this bridge, and then we can basically fight against, we can maybe cross down here. And exploit this way. So let's see what can be done here. Well, these are the fastest moving units. Let's move him there. Nice to just knock him out of the way. Right, so let's assume we're going to do something like that over here. Let's start blowing this stack up. Okay. And that might be just worthwhile. We do sort of want to push against this now. Let's send some air power against this, see what happens. Okay, 1.9. Zero, 0.5. I'm going to put some more air power in there. 2 more. 1. Okay, so that's at least 3.4 down. Sort of almost a battalion of mechanized units here. Right. I'm trying to play it a little more seriously. I mean, not so much seriously, but sensibly. I mean, I could just sit there and put all the rest of the rocket stuff in there, but that would just be sort of, I think that's always a gamification. I mean, I put a reasonable amount in, and now we're going in for the attack, and it's an exchange. So all of that, and these people hold off my plans to create this sort of front line, which is frustrating. So let's see whether we can take out this stack here. So in short, in essence, it sort of comes down quite nicely to how you might imagine it to be, or rather, what I should say, it's a crunch. You just don't. These are tough units, and that could possibly, be quite indicative of what are they on now? 2.45, 5.4. Quite indicative of what it's like on the ground. I mean, I always say that, but it seems to me to be the case that it is slow going, and one hex at a time is a puzzle to be solved. I don't like using the word puzzle, but we pushed them back 2-1 odds. At least we had a bit of luck there. So we pushed them back. One of them routed, so he's there. And I think things like that show the difference between an exchange where we basically just stopped due to heavy resistance, and when we managed to push them back, still at a price. It wasn't cheap, but now we've got the resources to sort of continue, that sort of exploitation, so to speak. It now changes the position slightly, and we can move these heavy units further in. And when we do have these units, for example, We should be able to do this with one. No. My God, that was embarrassing. That's mean just not thinking properly, but even so. It's 1 DE. So he's in there. Let's fire some rockets on this stack because we might be able to rout him. We passed his morale check both times. So that's pretty much that. Well, we've still got some air power we can put in somewhere. And the possibility to move somewhere here. Possibly against this unit. Or, what are we thinking down here? We used our cruise missile, didn't we? Did we do airstrikes as well? Can't remember now. Now let's assume we did. We committed our actions down there. This guy. Or this stack. Now let's go for this because I want to possibly one hex at a time shift things out. 0.6. All of that against one little unit. A 2 to 1. So we've actually managed to take a hex, and each one of these hexes is not cheap. We've not done that one, but we've moved forward slightly. I think we need to push around here, and if possible, to there. I don't want to get into this. Maybe we could. I want to try my luck against that. No, it's too strong, I think. What are we defending like? I'm not going to try and attack it. So that's half an hour to do that one little turn. So Now, the difference here is the Ukrainians have this long-range off-table artillery and drones. Now, the artillery is magic because there's nothing that can stop it. So what do we want to hit? Well, it might be worth hitting some of this stuff. It might be worth using it to take out the air defense units. Oh, there's a big stack of rockets there, look. Shot down. Ouch. Okay. Maybe see what we can do here. Perfect. The thing is, the Ukrainians, I think, and this is probably how it is, everything they do has to count, and it no effect. What is wrong with this artillery? Well, at least it works. There's got to be something better to do with that artillery. The thing is, that everything they do has got to work, and I must imagine it'd be quite demoralising, really, to sort of to find things not working. Initiatives and efforts collapsing. Oh, there's more over there. .9. 5. 5. 1.5. See, they don't need that, do they? Let's try some drones. So much air defense. Half strength. It's one more. None of them have routed or anything. Look, 7.8. Gotta get some routes. Oh, aborted. Well, there's not much that they can do. Now, what do we do with this unit? What do we do over here? Is this going to be a problem? We can definitely move out anti-tank units into range of whatever's going to be over there. some defend these units. Right, we've got a massive stack here, so we might as well try and these are fresh, so they're going to be just difficult to get out. We don't really have anything left to attack them with because they're irregulars. Do we leave him there? I think we will. Rockets over here. Fire onto this, rocket wise. Right, and let's use some anti-tank systems. An awful lot of effort to just take out one unit. Deal. That's positioning. I don't think there's much more to be done. Oh look, we can get plenty of this stuff. This is what I was thinking, you see. Look at this. 0. 0. What the hell? 1.4. I mean, I bet they're regretting driving that near. I think the answer 3.4. There's vehicles on fire, mechanized vehicles on fire, and they're thinking, well, we're just going to get more of that every turn. What are we doing? Is there anything else that can fire on that? Rockets. Well, go back to the game. Let's see what we can fire onto this stack, because the rockets will be better off against this stack. Okay. 8.5, 2.4, 1, 1.3. So anything that advances is going to get some attrition and get softened up a bit. So anything else that can be done? I mean, this stack here, they're just too big in there, aren't they? Depending on 8, it would be 1 to 8. That would be a 1 to 1, and that would probably be a 1 to 1. Maybe less. Probably not a good thing to do, but okay. End turn. All that effort just to get to the second turn. And look, we've got some reinforcements appearing. Rockets, air defense. Right. I don't think we're going to get through another Russian turn, but what would we do? Is there any scope in taking this hex? Let's go all out. All out. That was all out. Route, route, route. Oh, we didn't get that. However, that's not a problem. See, what I'm thinking is I'd like to pepper it up a bit, but if I put in a drone and he routes, I won't be able to attack. I have to attack so then I can advance. Now, if I attack him, I think we should be okay. It's soft skin on his own. Let's just go for it. We should be able to take him out. I mean, it would make sense. That's sort of, you know, I mean, I know the air. I know that. Well, it wasn't even air defense. It was. I was thinking of the Indochina one where the French had the Bain Meng Chao or whatever it is. I can never remember these names, and they put their guns to horizontal. I mean, this is an air defense unit, and it just defended a mechanized battalion assault across a river. What were the odds? It was 2 to 1, or was it, or 3 to 1? It was 3 to 1. I mean, those are pretty good odds, and he defended. That is insane. That's what cheered me up a bit, actually, because, you know, I mean, I love the sort of the tiny micro events. Well, I haven't watched any YouTube videos for a long time, but when you used to watch them, they just sort of power through millions of hex things and never savoured anything. I mean, this is something to be savoured, you know, this sort of like this historic sort of assault across whatever that bridge is. You know, I mean, it's not an unreasonable thing. It's not as though I had 7 to 1 odds and lost. It wasn't as though I miscalculated and was at 1 to 2 odds. I mean, 3 to 1 is pretty poor, but it is across the river. They are in light urban. They are entrenched. So it's not completely infeasible. But I'm not going to move these yet because we still really want to secure this flank. We've got to get rid of this unit, but I want to sort of maybe use my cruise missile somewhere else, maybe here. Okay, that wasn't so bad. Now I want to take this unit out for sure. But do I want to use some air power first? Because it's just one little unit on its own. But he held me back last time. Maybe I can use some rockets. I don't know which one this is. That's one of the problems. One at 12k, but I don't know who 12k is. Okay. Okay, there's just so much manpower to clear out such a small resistance. And again, I keep saying it, and it sounds boring, but that's got to be how it's happening. I mean, push them out. He must be able to push him out now. I mean, he's the complete inverse of what he was. He's alone, weakened, and in the open. 7-1. Okay, so what we're trying to do really need to sort of push on that. The rocket positions are not too bad, so let's really power this up. Got one of them. That was the one that was routed before. 1.4. What's he on now? 2.3. Let's put in a couple of air units. Drones. Another drone. It's pushing up to 3.9. He's really only got one movement left in him, so we'll move him there, and him there. And let's try it. Oh, a failed Russian assault. Oh, I mean, I knew I should have put more in, but I didn't want to. I just thought I'd be lucky. I'll push him out, and then I can just pile down this road, and I can get that whole thing. But now my plans are scuppered. Let's see how far up the road I can get with these. Oh, look at that. I like the way roads actually improve connectivity. You know, the speed that I can put these units. If they go across these agricultural things, they usually only go 2 or 3 hexes, but along the road it's much better. Rockets. Rockets. I mean, they put up a sturdy fight. They have the moral high ground. I mean, like they force a Russian retreat. What? that they've been pushed back, but they've got a 12. They did it with dignity. We haven't got any more movement with them. I think we can safely say we've got that gap. Pretty much got that line. We can probably push him back. An exchange. Again, it's just how you imagine it. I mean, all these frontal assaults have been stymied, thwarted, compromised. Like, they're all fairly worn. So let's see what we can do. Rockets there. Nothing. Put in 3 air units. Got rid of one of them. Another exchange. The Russians are just doing so badly. This is why they're going so slowly. They're just rolling all the wrong dice. You know, I mean, it's the High Commander saying you've got to be just winning these battles so that you can get, you know, you can do that push through, and you can move so much faster. And you know, they've got their nice little line there. Look, we haven't pushed here, haven't broken through there. Let's see if we can break through here. They don't even have any air defense over this way. We can't push that flank any harder than that. Keeping my eye on the time. I'm not going to play anymore because there's only 5 minutes left, but what I'll do, I'll just end the turn there. Review it. So this is the situation that we got. I mean, the Ukrainians have got a small amount of reinforcements on. They can probably do quite a bit of damage here, but the line is now like this. So we pretty much have what we want. But these are going to take a pounding. We didn't get across the river. They'll probably be able to reinforce it. But the question is, how much of a threat is that? And I think that this is a sort of move that, I don't know, maybe it doesn't make real sense. It's not the real thing. So I think, well, why don't they do that? And surely this would be much more of a threat against what they've got here. But the thing is, they are actually they are retreating these, and you can almost imagine why. Because the battle is being taken into Lysychansk, and if they don't get back across this river, they'll be isolated. I was reading it somewhere else, they were just saying they're just under so much continued artillery fire that it's pointless holding it, but they're going to be under continued artillery fire forever anyway. That's interesting. Where's all the Ukrainian off-table artillery? I must have just given them one move or something. Now they're all used, so I'll have to edit that, which is probably just as well. But I think that's a really sort of interesting. I always get really interested, but I just don't have the time to just sit there and play it all. I should do, because it's sort of quite calming, really. I think it's quite interesting as well, because there isn't any real chance for the Ukrainians to counterattack. Although it's sort of, it's not quite asymmetric, but I think it's safe to assume that they're behaving like irregular units and not sort of full frontal army units. But the Russians are just too powerful to counterattack. Big mechanized and armored units. You can sort of see, if they had more of these drones, they would be able to do more damage. Keep that artillery coming in, they could do more damage. There are units damaged over here, partly because they did bad assaults, the exchanges. There was an AR down there, where it is, but he's 3-2. Those are not insignificant numbers when you consider you're supposed to be winning. I'll leave it at that because I've got less than a minute left, and I'll speak to you later. Cheerio.